Welcome to the subject Business Law, taught at Bond University by Professor Nick James. Some of you may have studied law previously, perhaps in a legal studies subject at high school or some other law subject at university. Most of you will never have studied law before. Don't be concerned. This is an introductory level law subject. We will be assuming no prior knowledge of the law, and we will be going right back to basics. Those of you who have studied law in the past, please bear with us while we get everybody else up to speed. The subject is an introduction to the law regulating business in Australia today. The aim of the subject is not to train you how to be a lawyer. Rather, the aim of the subject is to teach you enough about the law and about Australian business law in particular to keep you out of trouble. We'd like to teach you how to recognize and, where possible, resolve simple legal problems so that you can organize your business affairs and, to a lesser degree, your personal affairs in such a way that you don't encounter legal problems. Or if you do encounter legal problems, you know what to do about them. The subject is broadly divided into three parts. The first part, which encompasses the first three topics of the subject, are all about basic concepts. In topic 1, we will ask and attempt to answer some fundamental questions about the law and start to look at the Australian legal system. In topic 2, we'll look much more closely at the Australian legal system, and in topic 3, we will teach you some fundamental legal skills. The second part of the subject, we look at some basic rules of the legal system. We'll look at the law of torts, the law of contract, agency law, consumer protection law, competition law, and intellectual property law. These are the basic rules that you need to understand and resolve legal problems about the causing of harm, the making and enforcement of deals, and dealing with customers and competitors. And in the third and final part of the course, we will follow the business cycle. In topics 9, 10, 11, and 12, we'll look at the rules that apply to starting a business, to managing and financing a business, and to closing a business, especially when a business encounters serious financial difficulty. This is a 10 credit point subject. That means that the university expects you to set aside 10 hours of your time each week to study this particular subject. Of those 10 hours, 3 hours will take place in the classroom and 7 hours will take the form of independent study. The 3 hours of classroom time are made up of 2 hours of lectures each week and a 1 hour tutorial each week. The 7 hours of self-directed study should be made up of reading the textbook, thinking about and preparing for each week's tutorial, and engaging with the various online interactive exercises on the subject website. The subject website is an iLearn site. If you haven't already done so, please go to the site and explore. Take a look at the many resources that we're providing you in order to assist you to make your way through this subject. There is a prescribed textbook for the subject. That textbook is Business Law by N. James. It's presently in the 3rd edition. That textbook is recommended because, one, the lecturer actually wrote that textbook and the subject follows the structure of that textbook quite closely. So you'll notice, for example, that topic 1 follows chapter 1 of the textbook, topic 2 follows chapter 2, and so on. If you would prefer to use a different business law textbook, and there are many other very good business law textbooks available, I do ask that you at least make sure that the textbook you are using is a recent edition. As you will learn in topic 1, the law changes frequently, and law textbooks very quickly go out of date. So whichever textbook you end up using for this subject, make sure that it's one that was published in the last 2 or 3 years. The assessment for the subject is made up of tutorial preparation and participation, a mid-semester exam, and a final exam. 10% of the marks for the subject are made up of your marks for tutorial preparation and participation. So there will be 10 tutorials across this semester, held in weeks 2 to 9 and weeks 11 to 12. There will be no tutorial in week 10. What we expect you to do is to prepare for each tutorial by writing a 1 to 2 page answer to that week's tutorial problem. If you have a look at the subject website, click on the various topics, you'll see that for each topic there is a tutorial problem. We would like your 1 to 2 page answer to be handwritten and to be brought along to class each week. When you show your attempt to the tutor at the start of each class, the tutor will award 1 mark for a reasonable effort and 0 marks for an unacceptable effort or no effort at all to answer the question. If you do that each week for the 10 tutorials, then you will receive 10 out of 10 for tutorial preparation and participation. Please don't try to submit your tutorial answers between classes by email or in person. You can only submit your tutorial answer in class. If you miss a class because of illness, then again, please don't try to submit your tutorial answer between the classes. Simply go along to class the following week with the previous week's attempt and your medical certificate, and you can show that to the tutor and you'll receive the mark for the class that you missed. 30% of the assessment for the subject is based on your performance on the mid-semester exam. The mid-semester exam will be held in week 5 and it will cover topics 1 to 3 of the subject. We will release more information about the mid-semester exam on the subject website as we get a little closer to week 5. And the final 60% of the assessment for the subject is based on your performance on the final exam. The final exam will be a 2-hour open book exam made up of 6 problem style questions. The questions that you will be doing on the final exam are very similar in structure to the questions that you'll be doing in tutorials, particularly from topic 3 onwards. It is therefore very, very important that you attend and participate in tutorials throughout the semester. The tutorials can be seen as exam preparation training. It is in tutorials that you will learn how to answer the types of legal problems that you will encounter on the final exam. Our recommended approach to studying in this subject and succeeding in this subject is as follows. First of all, attend the lecture for an introduction to an overview of the topic. We don't expect you to necessarily prepare for each lecture. Rather, you should simply come along to the lecture each week and the lecturer will introduce the topic to you. The lecturer will use lecture slides each week. These lecture slides will be posted usually on the weekend at the start of each week so that you can download these slides and take them along to the lecture to use as a basis for your note-taking. After each lecture, videos like this one will be created so that you can review the content of the lecture, or if you were, for whatever reason, unable to attend the lecture, ensure that you still get to watch the material and you don't fall behind. It's after the lecture that you actually do the work. After the lecture, you should go away and read the relevant parts of the textbook. You should engage in preparation for the following week's tutorial. You should take a look at the resources that are available on the subject website. And then the following week you go along to the tutorial for that particular topic and show the tutor your attempted answer to that week's question. And it's in the tutorial that you will have the opportunity to see how well you've understood that particular topic and to ask the tutor any questions that you might have about the topic. So start with the lecture. That's where you'll get introduced to the topic. Between the lecture and the tutorial, engage in your self-directed study, and then at the tutorial, see how well you've understood the material from the topic. We wish you the very best of luck in your study of business law this semester.